Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. If you are a new listener, then I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome to the Inner Group Chat. And if you are a returning listener, I'm so glad you came back because we have so much to catch up on. Since the last podcast episode, God, it's been busy. It has been busy. I wasn't sure if I was going to record this today, but I've been a productive queen, and here we are. The time is 3:40. You're going to listen to this on Sunday. By the time you listen to this, I'm going to be in Wales. I'm camping for the weekend. We're going to climb Snowdon. I think we're going to Snowdonia and we're going to climb Snowdon, but I keep saying them in the opposite way round, so we're just going to ignore that. We had to emergency rent a car this morning because the whole plan was, it was our anniversary on Wednesday, and we thought, okay, perfect. We'll go camping. It'll be a cheap weekend, lovely, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realise, because I'm silly, that I hadn't bought any of my camping stuff yet. My boyfriend has. He has all of his camping stuff, therefore, cheap trip for him. I haven't got anything, so not that cheap for me, but I'm going to a festival in 2-3 weeks time, and so I kind of knew that I needed to get all this camping stuff anyway, and so I was like, well, I can't keep borrowing everyone's because I'm not that close to home, so it's not actually that realistic to think I can just bring a sleeping bag and a tent from home. That's like a 3-hour journey. So I'm going to have to buy this stuff eventually. So I just kind of was like, just spent all this money and got it, and now I'm a bit like looking at a bank account like, oh, that wasn't that much of a cheap treat yourself, but these things will last. I got this really cute sleeping bag called a Pod One, and it's like massively wide for people who get claustrophobic when they sleep. I don't get claustrophobic when I sleep. I just thought that sounds really comfy. So I've got that. We've got a new tent, which is meant for 4 people, but I think that'll fit 2 perfectly. I'm bringing our picnic blanket as a tent carpet. My boyfriend had never heard of a tent carpet, and I just thought, maybe this was something my mum only did. But I remember making it so much comfier, and I just was thinking, well, a picnic blanket, tent blanket, kind of the same thing. So repurposing that, I've got a chair, and now we're not catching the train. I can bring so much more stuff with me. So much more stuff. You know, I was like, I'm going to have to go in my walking boots. It was a whole fashion nightmare, but now I've realised, no, I don't, because now we're taking the car, which a whole other issue as well was where the campsite that we're going to, really beautiful, okay, 5-minute walk, 5 minutes from a pub. Website, that's what it says, 5 minutes from the pub. Should say 5-minute drive from the pub, because our whole plan was like, Saturday night, okay, we'll go out for dinner, but after we've climbed, big hike, that'll be lovely. 50-minute walk, and I was like, it's fine, we'll just manage it, it'll be okay. What is that fine? Is anyone climbing Snowdon thinking, do you know what we need now? Another hour. Let's add another hour onto this. Let's add another hour on. Just really stretch our legs. And so the car is working out. And the final nail in the coffin that meant we're just going to have to rent the car. Do you know how much they wanted for the taxi? £65. 65. And I understand why. It's like quite actually a long way. It's not that easy to get to by public transport. I am a public transport princess, okay? I will choose it if I can and if it's feasible. This just actually isn't feasible. It's not feasible to get to Snowdon by public transport. And I wanted to create so much content about being like, you don't need a car to get here, because the whole plan is what we weren't. You do need a car to get there, it turns out. So I hate to disappoint anyone who was excited about that reel that I said I was going to make. But yeah, it's not happening. There's this one fly that has been attacking me today. It's got too friendly. It's not scared of me in the slightest. And I wish it was a bit more scared, but it's not. And it's just, I don't like flies. Anyway, I digress. They wanted to pay £65 for the taxi, and so the train tickets were 77 in total. The taxi would have been 65. We'd have had to have got another taxi, 65 back, and then we'd have had to have paid for, to be fair, that would have been it. But you know, we're looking there at about £130. Well, to rent a car, it was £130. And I know we're not including petrol in that, or fuel, whatever it takes. That's not going to be that much more, and it's so much more easier. It's basically way easier to just get a car instead of taking the train. So we've made the decision. I've done it. I've spent the money. We're renting a car. We've rented a car. I will not be driving. I'll be in charge of vibes, because that is my role in the car driving relationship. I will never be the driver. Ever. I hate driving. I failed my first driving test because I had a panic attack. Second driving test, I had a panic attack after I'd failed. Third driving test, only passed because a car wasn't coming the other way, and so I hate driving. It gives me so much anxiety. I really feel like I'm going to crash and die, and so I'm not even joking. I don't think people Like, everyone's just like, oh, just get over it. It's just driving. I'm like, no, I literally fear for my life when I'm on the roads. I feel like that is going to be the end of me. I think having ADHD and driving, there is a lot, and a manual, that is a lot of things to think about. And I just hate it. I hate it. And so I'd get an automatic, and I think I'm going to drive an automatic when I eventually get a car, because I'm not just going to never have a car. But I don't have any enjoyment from it. But being a passenger, I do. And so this is my role for today, being a passenger princess. I have managed to do all of my content, and I have wrapped everything up, and so I've had a very productive day. But updating you all on my weekend wasn't the main goal of this podcast episode, although it is slightly, because I feel like we just FaceTime and catch up, which is so fun. I want to know how your day's been. I want to know how your week's been. I want to know what you've been up to. So make sure that you message me on Instagram. Is probably the best space, at Mel from Bella, and then we can catch up. But this week I wanted to chat to you about this quote that I read, because I've been thinking about it a lot. And the quote is, let me get the phone out. Okay, don't want to misremember it. And the quote is, the right doors won't open until you're the version of yourself that's supposed to walk through them. And whenever I'm feeling like things aren't going to plan, because the last couple of podcast episodes, God, this is really quite attacking, isn't she? I'm going to have to move a bit further. It looks a bit strange. We'll move you that way. Whenever I'm feeling like things aren't going to plan or things aren't happening quick enough, it's a quote that often sticks in my mind. Because if I look at the journey that I've been on, if I look at content creation, gaining followers, learning, understanding, kind of perfecting my craft of writing and podcasting, that big corner, I don't feel like I've turned it yet. I don't feel like I've turned that corner of success. I think there's a lot still that I have to do. And I used to spend a lot of time thinking and looking at other creators who had managed to get there quicker, thinking, God, they're just so good. They're just so good. They've managed to get there so much quicker than me. They have managed to be so much more successful than me. They've managed to do so much more than me. That's what I kind of hyperfixate on, thinking that I'm just not, because it hasn't happened yet to me, it means that it's never going to happen. And that used to be something that I'd think quite a lot, until certain parts of success, like certain signs of success, started coming my way. Maybe I got a campaign, or I hit a certain follower milestone, or, I've really produced a piece of content that I really believed in, or I thought was well edited, or, certain signs I was like, I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at this. And there would be things that would happen that I'd realised if this had have happened earlier to me, I wouldn't have been ready for it. And the older I get and the more experienced I get, the more belief I have in the line that only the doors will open for you the right doors will open for you when you're the version of yourself that is meant to walk through them. I really do think we all have this big life plan. We have this big kind of trajectory of where our lives are going. And we know it because it's intuitively what we want to spend our life doing. I think everyone is here for a purpose. Everyone is here for a reason. Whether that reason is, writing a book, or being a great friend to someone, or really enjoying their career. I don't know, there's so many different purposes. Your purpose could be to help other people. Your purpose could be to kind of evolve the human race. That's a big purpose. But it could be, you could be an academic, you could be a researcher, you could be a writer, you could be a carer, you could any whatever your reason is. It's that thing that gives you purpose, that makes you think, do you know what, I was put on this earth to do this thing. That's what I was meant to do. And it might sound cringe, but when I'm recording like a little video and I'm like, I feel like you're going to do a good job, that's genuinely, I feel like I don't even have to think about what I'm going to say, because it just comes. Like, I don't really plan any of my content. I just sit in front of the camera, and whatever words come, I just talk, I just speak. Like podcasts, I don't really talk, right? I don't really plan what these are going to be. I just speak. Because the words just come. Like, I'm never worried about not having something to say, because I always know I'll have something to say, because A, I'm a chatterbox, and B, the words always come. And I think that is a big part about what your purpose is. It's intuitive to you, and it's kind of, what you're meant to do, how you're meant to say something, how you're meant to, but you just know, without even learning, without even memorizing, without having to hone your craft too much. There's that part of you that can a little bit just do it. It comes easily to you. And with us all having these purposes, with us all thinking and having these bigger goals in life about where we want to go, who we want to be, the person that we want to become, we can often then start to put timelines on our own journey, forgetting that there are lessons that we have to learn along the way. And I think it's important that you start thinking of those lessons. I did a reel where it's like I compared it to ingredients in a food shop, because sometimes I think these lessons that we have to learn are so fundamental to evolving into the person that's going to be able to unlock the door. Like, you have to know how you're going to be able to cope in different situations. You have to have a strong sense of self before something major can happen. You know, you have to be able, because when it doesn't, I don't think then that works out that well. You know, you see people finding success too early and they burn themselves out. People finding not their voice, but like maybe their voice being amplified too early before they realize what they really wanted to say. I feel like there is this bigger trajectory that our lives are all on, like I was saying, and I think these moments, these kind of cornerstone moments where these big things happen in our lives, they happen then for a reason. And the reason is it's because you're ready at that moment. And sometimes maybe you can move, like you can make it happen faster by doing more things quicker, but often I think if you do things as and when you feel like in your gut you're meant to do it, that's when things start to work. That's when things work out as they are meant to. You know, I don't think I could have gone as all in into content creation as I had until I was this age now, because I just wasn't going to be ready. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I had to feel more confident in myself as well. You know, me and my boyfriend have been together 6 years now, and one of the things I was chatting about on Wednesday was, do you think I've changed in the last 6 years? Like, do you think I'm a different person? He was like, yeah, a totally different person. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't think I'd changed. Like, I changed a bit, but like not that much. He was like, when you first met me, you didn't let me take a photo of you. You know, you were really shy in front of the camera. You didn't really you hated having your photo taken for everything. And now, like, it's just like you do it constantly. Not saying that was a bad thing, but, you know, now you're really confident in front of the camera. Your confidence has grown so much. And, you know, if I had been going to events when I was 23, when things were still growing, I didn't really have a strong sense of self. I think it's taken me longer to work out who I am. And some people know who they are from the get-go, but I've never felt like that. I've never known exactly who I am or exactly what I wanted to be. I think I've spent the last 5 years finding my voice, finding my opinion, finding out how I want to say things and who I want to say them to, and finding the words that I want to use. I think it's taken me time, and I used to think that that was a bad thing. Like, I used to almost feel a bit shameful. I went to this event and everyone was like, oh, how long have you been doing this for? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, 1 year, 2 years, 6 months. And I was like, 5 years. And everyone around me was probably, you know, had achieved maybe bigger things than me. And there could have been a part of me that felt insecure about that, thinking, I've done this for so much longer than you and you're so much further ahead than me. Does that mean that I'm doing this wrong? But now I just know that they were obviously ready for that sooner than I was ready for that. And that's not a bad thing, because we're all on different journeys. We're all in different lanes. We are all running different races. I had different lessons to learn that were important for me to learn till I reached that level of success. It would have burnt me out if I'd learned it too soon, because I'm different to you. My personality is different to you. How I'm going to create content is different to you. How I'm going to show up around other people is different to you. And, you know, my kind of light, I feel like everyone's like a little butterfly, and we all stay in cocoons sometimes longer than other people. The time frame that we're in that cocoon for is different, because when we emerge, we're all going to have different wings. We're all going to fly, but it doesn't all mean we're going to fly at the exact same point. It doesn't mean our wings are all going to look the same. It doesn't mean we're all going to have the same pattern, but it doesn't mean we're all not going to fly just because it isn't on the same time frame. And so this kind of last 3 months, you know, at the start of the year, I was kind of a bit like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? It was like definite one of those moments of, Am I doing the right things? I don't know. Like, not feeling super confident. Could have been because it was winter. You know, I don't want to put too much. It was winter. No one likes winter. But it was also, you know, I just feel really creative at the moment. And I don't really care if a video does well or not. I kind of not expect it, like manifest it. But I'm just like unbothered. If a video does really well, then I'm like, yay. But I'm not. I don't know. I had a video that did 1.2 million views on Instagram. I didn't really feel anything from, I didn't feel anything from it. Not in like, I didn't feel sad about it, I didn't feel really happy about it. I just felt like, I don't think that video was particularly better than any of the other videos that I've ever done. I think it's just that the algorithm liked it. And so I know in myself, I'm starting to be so much more confident and believing in myself. And that's a good feeling. You know, there was wobbles that I've had this year thinking, am I doing the right thing or should I be switching this up? But now I'm like, no, I am doing the right thing and I'm on this train and I am not getting off. I'm not getting off. I am going to see this through. And I want you to see it through too, because I know we've spoken about this a lot the last couple of episodes. I think it's been a processing thing for me. I think it's been something that I have really been thinking about. What am I doing with my life? How am I making all of this come together? And am I making the right calls? But I actually believe that I am. And I'm proud of myself for that, for sticking it through, for thinking the right doors will open when I'm ready. For not questioning the path that I'm on, for not questioning how long it takes, for not questioning, is this the right thing? Knowing that it is and knowing it will work out when it's meant to, because I am such a firm believer of that. And when I look back over my life, I think how many times that has happened where things I've wanted have come into fruition later than I would have expected them to. But when they have, when that moment of something has come into my life, even though I wanted it to happen sooner, when it's come into my life, I've thought, thank God this didn't happen sooner, because I was looking at this with rose-tinted glasses. This was actually much harder than I realised. This was actually a lot more to handle. And so I guess my lesson for you this podcast episode is, and this week, is to not, overthink too much if things aren't happening in the right order that you expect them to not beat yourself up if you want things to happen quicker, if you think this isn't going quick enough, if you think, oh no, I need to do more quicker. To try and realise the right doors will open for you when you're ready for them to open for you. So long, I'm not going to say okay, we're just going to have to sit on the sofa and just wait it out. No, you've got to put in the effort, you've got to put in the work. You want to become a content creator, you've got to start posting the videos. But if you don't blow up, it's the things out of your control. If the algorithm doesn't blow you up in the first 6 days, you can't quit. It's because you're learning the lessons that you need to along the way. And so that is my lesson for you this podcast episode. To not give up. To realise that things are going to happen on the right time zone for you, that there are lessons you have to learn along the way. And that's not a bad thing. It's just part of being human. It's part of having a journey. Everyone says the journey is the most exciting part. And I think it's because all of a sudden you do things and you can improve and you see yourself getting better. And it's like that feeling of evolving. Honestly, it's such an exciting feeling. That feeling of growing into something you've always wanted to become is such an exciting and fulfilling and brilliant feeling. And I think it's such a great part of being human, And I don't always mean that in a way of being productive, but I mean evolving your friendships, evolving your relationships with people, evolving your knowledge about certain things, just gaining a broader understanding of the world around us, I think is such a brilliant part of being human. And it's why you can't rush the journey. It's why you can't rush things happening, because they are going to happen on the timeline they are meant to, because you have got to have the certain understanding that you've got to have to reach that door and for the door to open. That is what I feel passionately about at the moment. And I just had to tell you, because I think it's a thing not enough people talk about. But thank you for listening to this week's podcast episode. I cannot wait to catch up with you again next week at That was the wrong exit. I can't wait to catch up with you again next week. And make sure you are following me on Instagram and on TikTok at Mel from Bella. And we'll catch up again soon. I love you and I can't wait to speak to you again later. Bye. Mwah.